Just hours after Jungkook was seen departing for the United States with fellow BTS members Suga and Jimin, another figure quietly made his way through Incheon International Airport. None other than Jin, BTS's eldest member and current solo tour headliner. While Jin's schedule is officially tied to his upcoming US concerts for the Run Seokjin tour, the timing of his flight has not gone unnoticed by fans. The question flooding fan communities is simple but deeply emotional. Did Jin delay his departure just to catch one last glimpse of Jungkook before they both left Korea? Flight logs and eyewitness accounts suggest Jin's check-in occurred less than 6 hours after Jungkook's departure. But instead of departing together, as some fans had hoped, the two left in separate waves. This quiet disconnection led to waves of speculation on X, formerly Twitter, with fans questioning whether the separation was intentional or just a scheduling necessity. Still, multiple fans at the airport claimed to have seen Jin lingering at a windowed lounge area, eyes fixed on the runway. He looked calm but thoughtful, like he was waiting for something or someone, said at Saraval Journal, who posted a zoomed photo of Jin watching planes from a secluded VIP lounge. Others are convinced Jin had already said his goodbyes privately, but that this moment at the airport was his way of processing it all, alone. The timing holds weight. Jin and Jungkook have long shared a special bond, one that often goes unspoken but is visible in their glances, in their support of each other's projects, and in their mutual respect. While their public appearances have become rarer due to solo activities, fans know that distance has never meant emotional detachment for BTS. It's heartbreaking and beautiful at the same time. Wrote at 7 Souls Purple, they're both chasing their dreams in different places, but they always seem to move in sync, even when they're apart. For many, the quiet airport moments felt symbolic. Two artists walking their own paths, separated by timing, yet united by something deeper. Shared history, pride, and perhaps the knowledge that their reunion with the group is closer than ever. Some fans even interpreted Jin's recent performance of With the Clouds in Chiba as a metaphor for this moment, being close yet unreachable, just like clouds that drift apart but always share the same sky. Maybe Jin's flight was never late, one fan tweeted. Maybe it was just enough time to say goodbye in the only way they know how, silently. Jin is now expected to kick off the US leg of his tour in Anaheim within days, while Jungkook, Jimin, and Suga are rumored to be attending private recording sessions in Los Angeles for BTS's group comeback in 2026. Whether they'll meet in person again soon is unknown, but one thing is clear. Their unspoken connection is still writing stories in the spaces between their schedules, and sometimes, that's all fans need to believe that the bond between Jin and Jungkook remains as strong as ever. As Jin arrived in Los Angeles, the energy shifted from emotional silence to anticipation. Stepping off the plane in a minimalist black outfit and sunglasses, Jin appeared calm yet focused, as if mentally preparing himself for the next chapter of his solo journey. The flashes from waiting photographers didn't faze him. He offered a small wave, a half smile, and moved swiftly through the terminal with his team, greeted quietly by a handful of armies who had tracked his arrival in real time. Meanwhile, across the same city, Jungkook, Suga, and Jimin had already begun their behind-the-scenes work, reportedly in a private recording studio rented by HYB for upcoming BTS sessions. Though the group's official reunion album isn't expected until 2026, sources close to the production hinted that foundational tracks may already be underway. The overlapping presence of both Jin and Jungkook in the same city ignited another wave of emotional speculation. Could their paths cross offstage? Could we witness a quiet reunion, hidden from the cameras but deeply felt by the members? The idea alone sent Twitter, or X, into overdrive. Fans began piecing together arrival times, potential studio schedules, and even comparing photos to see if the backgrounds matched. One image of Jungkook arriving at a restaurant in Beverly Hills sparked rumors that it was the same location where Jin was once spotted in 2022. Although there's no confirmation that they've met yet, armies believe their bond runs deeper than public sightings. For many, just knowing they're under the same sky in Los Angeles is enough to stir tears. Jin's arrival in the US doesn't just signal a tour, it represents a turning point. Having carried the weight of being BTS's eldest, the first to enlist, and now the one leading the solo concert journey, his presence feels symbolic, a bridge between the past and what's next. His last performance in Chiba was praised for its warmth, intimacy, and sincerity. Fans described it as less of a concert, more of a letter. A farewell to one chapter and a quiet promise for the next. Now, as he prepares for the Anaheim show, fans are preparing too. Hashtags like hashtag Welcome to LA Jin and hashtag Run Seokjin USA have been trending, and even locals who are new to BTS are curious about the solo artist who's managed to sell out venues with barely a whisper of mainstream promotion. Inside the fandom, however, Jin's quiet strength, dry humor, and emotional depth have always been magnetic. What makes this moment even more touching is that, somewhere across the city, another member of BTS, Jungkook, is likely thinking about the same things. Growth, music, brotherhood, and perhaps that silent farewell at the airport window wasn't a goodbye, but a beginning. Because if there's anything armies have learned, it's that BTS never truly walks apart for long. Their paths always, somehow, find their way back to each other. AS preparations intensified for Jin's highly anticipated Anaheim show, the official US kickoff of his Run Seokjin EP tour. The atmosphere grew increasingly electric. Staff buzzed around the venue. Light rigs tested their final syncs, and fans began lining up outside the Honda Center, many wearing handmade shirts that read, "With you, always, Seokjin." Inside the arena, behind heavy black curtains, Jin was deep in rehearsal. Unlike his group performances with BTS, this stage was solely his. Every spotlight, every lyric, every pause crafted by and for Kim Seokjin. There was no one else to fall back on. And yet, that solitude wasn't intimidating anymore. If anything, it energized him. He rehearsed Loser again, not because he needed to, but because it carried weight. That song, first performed in Chiba, had unexpectedly become a fan favorite. Its raw lyrics and vulnerable tone struck a chord with listeners who saw it not as a cry of defeat, but an anthem of resilience. And perhaps Jin saw it that way too, as a message to himself, to Jungkook, and to every army who had stood by them during the years of change. Backstage, there were whispers that members of HYB's US team had stopped by. Some fans speculated that Bang Si-hyuk himself might make a discreet visit, as he often did when BTS milestones took place outside Korea. Though unconfirmed, the possibility stirred excitement, and further fueled theories that Jin's solo endeavor was also laying groundwork for BTS's next global phase. Meanwhile, across the city, Jungkook was seen again, this time entering the HYB America recording facility, wearing the same black cap and understated hoodie he had worn at Incheon Airport. No statements were made. No interviews. But the timing, so close to Jin's concert, kept fans alert. Could Jungkook be planning a surprise appearance at Jin's show? Would he join him on stage, even briefly? Or were they simply orbiting in the same city, connected by invisible threads of loyalty and timing? As showtime approached, Jin stood in his dressing room, alone but never lonely. A small screen in the corner showed fans arriving outside, holding banners with his name, chanting lyrics to songs he wrote in the quiet hours after military training, or during lonely nights in the dorms years ago. He smiled, adjusted his earpiece, and whispered to himself, "Let's go." The crowd roared the moment he stepped on stage. What followed was not just a concert, but a celebration. From Running Wild to I'll Be There, every track was met with thousands of voices singing along. But when the lights dimmed for With the Clouds, a hush fell over the room. And it was in that silence that something powerful happened. Jin paused before singing, looked into the crowd, and softly said, "Even when we're apart, we're never really alone." Fans wept. Phones shook. The moment felt like a direct message to Jungkook, perhaps to armies watching from every time zone, or to his past self who once worried if he could carry a stage alone. And just as the final note echoed across the arena, somewhere in the shadows of the crowd, a figure in a cap and mask looked up and clapped slowly, deliberately. Whether it was Jungkook or just a lookalike, no one could say for certain. But many believed. And sometimes, belief is enough. Backstage, Jin walked off stage with tears in his eyes and a grin stretching across his face. Another show complete. Another dream fulfilled. And another reminder that this was just the beginning. Would you like the next part to follow the aftermath of the Anaheim show, or shift to the possibility of a surprise reunion in the next tour stop?